The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. Amen, I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter or the smallest part of a letter will pass from the law until all things have taken place. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever obeys and teaches these commandments will be called greatest in the kingdom of heaven." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
There's always a contradiction that seems to take place between what the purpose of the law is and our freedom. If you have a healthy appreciation of what law is, you know that it is meant not to restrict freedom, but to amplify it, to make it more easily accessible and lived. The law to stop at a corner where there are 4 stop signs, it's perhaps slowing you down, but it's also giving you the freedom to know that hopefully someone isn't going to come rushing through and kill you. So there's a little give and take. So the law sometimes can get a bad reputation, but really, if we take a healthy approach to it, it is meant to liberate society. Now, we have in here almost what appear to be 2 contrasting appreciations of the law. St. Paul, speaking about the Mosaic covenant as being a covenant that ends up in death. It fades away, and it has no life because it's a law of the letter and not the spirit. And he's come to proclaim a law of the spirit, but still a law. Jesus speaks about the law, but not a single letter will be done away with until it's all fulfilled. So where do we stand on all this? I like to think of the difference between what is written and what is lived. If you go to a library, I envision a library pretty much like a prison. All those ideas, and they're trapped in the pages of a book. But you or I go in there, and we open the book, and the words become a part of us, and it's liberated. Father Rijard, the bishop's secretary, likes to tell the story when he was a little boy. He went to the library, and there was a book on bees. And he took the book, book off the shelf, and he opened it. It was a rather old book. Opened it, and the card showed that no one had ever taken it out. He felt sorry for the book, so he hugged the book, and he took it, and he read it. And of course, we know he's a great beekeeper now. So see how the words are only words until they become in flesh, and I think that's what St. Paul was trying to get at. The same, of course, is true with the gospel. I don't know what saint said it, but they said, if in all things preach the gospel, and if necessary, use words. That we live the gospel and that we are meant to fulfill it. We're entering now this section of the Sermon on the Mount, which will be challenging. Jesus will go through this series where you have heard it said, and there'll be a quote from the law, but this is what I tell you. This is the Spirit. This is what it really means. This is how to live it in its fullness. May we be always challenged to live the fullness of the gospel and not be minimalists and just being surfacey about our faith, but live with conviction and courage and honesty and authenticity so that the gospel might not be imprisoned anywhere in a book or on a printed page, but liberated and freed because it's a living presence in your and my life.